Today, we sit down with massage therapy concepts and talk about self care from the inside out. And with massage therapy concepts, I mean, I use it daily. My husband uses it daily. And honestly, I had no idea before I met you guys or found out about the company that I could even bring a product like the V Pod home
Mhm,
and get this stimulation on my shoulders. I have scoliosis, I've always had back problems.
mhm.
And seriously, this is the only way that I can keep myself actually like going and like keep working out and keep running.
Mhm.
Would you be able to explain maybe to someone who doesn't know what a stimulant is, uh, what that does for your body, and even if you're not an athlete, what it can do for you?
Yeah. So actually it's like you said, it's you used to not be able to bring it home. It used to be something that you would just use in physical therapy or hospitals in like an extreme level. But yeah, so there's different types of electrical stimulation. There's TENS units, which focus on pain relief. So basically it's not shock waves. That makes it sound like it hurts, but you know it doesn't hurt. Yeah, it's just like a little tingling, it's almost relaxing, and it's electrical waves that are sent to based on where you put it, and there's, like, very specific areas of where you should put it depending on what ailment you have, but so the TENS works by sending those electrical waves to that area of pain and basically triggering the body's natural, um, pain relief functions. So it increases endorphins, it encourages blood circulation in that area, which then like anywhere where it's high blood oxygen and high blood circulation, the body's gonna heal faster, um, or at least relieve pain until you can get the healing, like if it's something more serious. Then the other way that it works is through EMS, which is electrical muscle stimulation. Um, and that's going to work in the same way, but instead of targeting a nerve, it's going to target muscle fibers to kind of help flush out. Um it it still helps circulation in the same way, but it's going to help flush out lactic acid, which is what's responsible for muscle soreness, anything in that degree, so that the next day you can work out again and build muscle if that's what the goal is, or just stay active, without the hindrance of staying sore and having to wait 3-4 days until you're not sore anymore. um, and those are just like two of the functions in most units. But then the V pod has like a lot more. But yeah.
I love how when I get a unit or even um, have something maybe that I want to try out, that you guys always have that really great, it's like a list and it has like the body and shows like what
Yeah.
every um, control or, placement is for, which is huge because I feel like everything's almost interconnected, interwoven within our bodies. So something that we think could be causing this could be somewhere else on our body, but
Right.
I the direction that you guys give as well. And with the new V Pod, I was kind of wondering how to use it when I first got it because I was like, okay, my shoulders weren't that big, but my husband was like, trust me, just let me put it on, and it's been amazing. Um, could you talk a little bit more about the V Pod? And it's a really cool concept and design.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear more about it.
Yeah. So typically, I actually have it right here. Typically they have like wires, and we do have another unit that does have wires, but we found that there was a need for being able to wear it discreetly while you're out. If it's something that's like you need to have it while you're out, you don't necessarily want to have the wires showing. So basically, I'll show you. It has little sticky pads connected to the actual unit that's responsible for um, the electrical stimulation here, which is chargeable. And this actually connects to the VPod app, which could be downloaded on your phone, on Android or Apple or anything. And then they stay sticky as long as you keep it clean and you clean the skin before, and you can actually wash these with lukewarm water and soap. but basically you'll stick these wherever the injury is, and the instruction booklet kind of tells you where it is depending on where the pain area is. But it is kind of self-explanatory. Like if you have it in your shoulders, you put it here or like above, depending on where it is. And yeah, and then on the app you have like a whole different range of strength. So if it's something that's more sensitive, you can start lower and then move it up. And there's like 24 different functions depending, again, on if you're trying to recover your muscle or if it's like a pain, like a nerve pain, like a chronic pain that you are trying to avoid medication for, or you're trying to recover from a surgery. Like there's a bunch of different, sometimes people just use it on the massage function. There's like Tai Chi, the acupuncture, like there's too many. If I give my list all of them, it'll take me an hour. But and then there's just like the simple like TENS or EMS, depending on if it's more just because you have shoulder cuff issues or you're just trying to grow your shoulder muscles.
The mentality I've kind of got myself into is like that upkeep of my body. I put so much stress, so much damage on it, I feel like daily. And like having the VPOD, having the TENS unit, like that's huge. But then also like taking care of my skin, something like that not only like takes care of it, but makes me feel good as well. And it's a different vibe, I guess, than just taking a product and saying, oh, I love this product. It's completely from the outside in, more so approach. Would that be correct on that?
Yeah. And I think you're definitely right about, there is definitely a mindset shift around, I don't even know what age, that changes from like immediate results to longevity. Like everyone has done those like fad diets and like you want quick results, or like I don't know, there's so many skin trends and stuff like that that actually like helps immediately, but then there's long-term damaging effects. And I think the more research people do, they start eating and working out and taking care of their skin for longevity. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's the end goal. I think when I first began my journey, I started out, it's like, oh, you want the perfect skin, you want this, but then there's like, oh my gosh, there's underlying causes within all of these things. And so it's like, if you're just painting a wall that's damaged, it might look good, but it's going to crumble.
It's all internal. Then, yeah, exactly. A lot of people think like if they have acne, they just have to treat it outside or like put some kind of, and at the end of the day, a lot of it is internal. Yeah. It's what you're putting in is reflected outwardly, for sure.
That's such a good segue to talk about mental health.
Yeah.
I think self-care, I think people aren't really aware as much about the self-care aspect of mental health and that longevity aspect. And I've read books on what you put in your gut and spending time outside and different things along those lines. But from your perspective, a mental health perspective, do you think that being able to take care of yourself like this, have you personally seen a difference mental health wise?
Yes, because I think anytime that you prioritize yourself, it's going to improve your mental health and how you view yourself. I think for some people, like type A people and people that get very obsessive about working out or any like strict regimen, there is a fine line between, no, me too. I definitely fall under that line. And there's a fine line where I have to like watch out for where my health actually begins to affect, like my watching out for my health begins to affect my mental health.
I feel like as a society, we base who we are and our self-worth off of our productivity. And I fall to that because I have to remind myself that daily, like what you do today and what you get done has nothing to do with who you are. Mm-hmm. A person, a human being, your soul, your very being, what you mean to people. And I'll catch myself telling my husband, he's like, so what'd you do today? And to like prove my self-worth of what I've done with my day, I'm like, oh, I did this and I got this done. And I sit there and I think about it for a second. I'm like, but if I would have just sat on the couch all day, would that make me ungrateful? Would that make me
Yeah.
lazy? Absolutely not.
Right.
Being able to remind yourself every single day that, you are more than even what you do, is greater, because being a human being and just being able to keep going every day is a miracle,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah, for sure. And there's no shame in, like, therapy is not taboo anymore.
Mhm.
And I hope it's not. But there used to be kind of a shame, like, it'd be like, oh yeah, I started therapy, and like, oh. And now, like, I honestly think even if you think you have problems to figure out or you don't, I think everyone should be in therapy, because regardless, you're going to find out so much about yourself, and then that will affect how you approach others and things like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, no shame in any of that.
There's so much of my adulthood that I've found, and even when I get stressed out because of what you guys do, it helps me sleep and even just like function, because I carry all my stress, like right here, my physical stress
Yeah.
and my emotional stress. And just being able to have like that outlet, and to know like that can help, that alleviate that at some point, that
Right.
helps sleep better at night.
One thing, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
actually, while you're on the topic of I forgot to mention this earlier, on mental health, we're actually working on some wearable tech. I'm like kind of excited about it. And it significantly helps with stress, anxiety, PTSD. I can't like go into super details how it works, because there's still a lot of trials going on.
Mhm.
But we have a study right now, and we're looking for psychiatrists or psychologists or hypnotherapists actually that study like brainwaves, um, or people with high stress levels, anxiety, or PTSD who want to apply for the study. There's obviously restrictions, and I can send you the link for that. But that's something that we're really excited to enter that whole field of mental health through that scientific study.
So you guys are entering technically that realm. How is that going to open doors for not only your company, but for people in general, that non-invasive technique?
Yeah. So it's gonna definitely widen our horizons to where now we're not just electrical stimulation, and it's gonna be more of a wellness brand for sure.
Who would you recommend for like the different units that you guys have? I know that there are a lot of people that haven't even been to the chiropractor or haven't used these before.
Mhm.
Uh, who would you say that could use these? They look at it and maybe think, oh, like, well, that's for an athlete, but truly, like, it's for all of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's literally what we always say. It is for anybody and everybody who is active, and maybe not even not even. Let me It's like, I guess, three different demographics. We have like an older demographic that's dealing with joint pain or back pain. But even then, that's not necessarily older. A lot of people just have pain issues that are chronic or they're born with. Um, so anyone who has any sort of pain, which like who doesn't at this point? Anyone who has any sort of pain that they don't want to go under the needle for, they don't want to take pain relief medication for. So I guess two demographics, that one. Or you're just often active, you want to recover faster. Maybe you have a certain muscle group that always gives you problems when you work it out, and you just want to recover faster so that that's not hindering you in your next workout. So basically, if you have any sort of pain, or if you're active, which is like everybody.
Find Massage Therapy Concepts online or give them a follow on Instagram. Next, we interview Pulse Athletic Wear founder and CEO. Stay tuned.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me and joining me today. Your story is captivating and it is so incredible. And would you just share a little bit of your background with our viewers?
Yes, of course. First of all, thank you so much again for having me. Really excited to be here and on this amazing platform. My name is Karishma, and I'm currently the CEO of Pulse Athletic Apparel, I like to call it a heart-based fitness brand that was founded a little over a year ago. So we just turned one last year. But, deep diving a bit further, baseline, born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago, stayed here for part of my education, and I went to Loyola for undergrad, and then left a little bit to do 2 different grad programs. So one was in the science kind of realm, so in biology, medical physiology space out of Case Western. And then the other was a Tri-City Masters in Management out of the University of San Francisco. So I guess just, giving the resume pitch, a lot of those experiences and a lot of my education really just kind of opened me up to the limitless possibility of the world. And I'd say it was definitely one of the contributing factors of how I got to become the CEO of the first heart-based fitness brand.
And I love the mission behind Pulse Athletic Apparel. It's high quality athleisure and activewear made affordable, because you shouldn't have to sacrifice your bank account for your well-being. And as a runner myself, I know that struggle of feeling like, okay, everything has to feel good in order to reach my mileage, or just feeling good in general, and having those different outfits. But athleisure has become more popular and more in demand. And I feel like the price point has raised, or maybe it has been raised. But I think that's so special, because people can get this great quality product and still perform and still feel good at the end of the day. What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, definitely. I love to share kind of some of the more personal story. Running essentially, well, I'll take a pause before I get to running. I grew up as a competitive athlete, so kind of sports were always like ingrained into my life. I grew up playing tennis and soccer for about a decade, up until, adulthood, so until I started college. And then I was just kind of working out on and off, and I actually never enjoyed running. So even though I was playing sports like tennis and soccer, I was notorious for showing up to practice late to avoid the conditioning, or, dipping out early. And my coaches knew this too. But I actually, the turning point was when I reached the end of my college career, and I just kind of felt a little lost. I was working really hard in a couple of different aspects of my life, and just wanted a little break, a mental break, and wanted to kind of set a goal for myself that had absolutely nothing to do with, academia, with research, with, career, anything like that. And I decided to do a half marathon in 2016. So this was, so January 2016, it was like a New Year's resolution. Ended up, going from couch to half marathon. Well, not necessarily couch, but not running to running 13.1 miles in about, I think, a 10-week time span. Trained, meal prepped, and really just worked hard to ingrain that into a part of my life at that time, and completed it. So this is about April of 2016 timeline wise. And I found that after I finished this race, I almost felt like I had this void, and I needed to keep going. And I really had worked, even though it was just such a short time span, it felt like that was something I was consistently doing. And it felt like, oh, there's something missing in my life at this point. So, I loved the highs that I got from it. I loved, just the fitness aspect, the look good, feel good, and all of that comes into, ingraining fitness in your life. And I ended up signing up for the full marathon that same year, the Bank of America Chicago Marathon. And the rest has kind of been history. I've been running and, training for one full race every year since, at a total of 5 right now, and looking to do a 6th this year. But the main reason that, running just continued to remain such a pivotal part in my life was that when I was focusing on all these aspects of physical fitness, in turn, I was also focusing on the mental aspects of wellness. And when I was doing the two together, every other piece in my life started coming together as well. Things I was initially stressing about, things I needed an outlet for, things I had problems where I felt kind of stuck. I just had such a positive experience from it. And I knew I wanted to create a brand that really encouraged and empowered others to do the same. So might not be, running a marathon every year, because I realize that could be a bit extreme. But it is just kind of this idea of working on becoming a better and healthier version of yourself each and every consecutive day. And that is just kind of one of the, I guess, one of the elements I really want to push forward with Pulse too. So that's definitely one piece of it, right? And then thank you so much for mentioning the mission earlier. I could go into a little bit of that as well. Affordability was always kind of something I've been passionate about. One baseline, you're spending so much money training for races, competing in races, on the clothes, on the shoes, on the gels, and everything that encompasses being a marathon runner. And it almost kind of seems like it is a luxury sometimes because, some of these brands, they're amazing, very reputable. I've spent so much money on them, but it almost feels like the high price point can deter some people away from even getting started and getting their foot out the door and taking those first strides and becoming a runner or even just starting their own fitness journey. So taking all of these different pieces together, I really wanted to create a brand that was very inclusive. And I found that by being affordable, by not compromising quality, by really just kind of sharing the story and creating this community, we were able to build something essentially.
You took your personal growth, well-being, and fitness journey and used it to fuel your now amazing athletic apparel brand. And I love what you said right there about, people being afraid to just start. And even if that's running, if that's a wellness journey, through fitness, what would you say to those people that maybe it's different factors that they feel like that's keeping them from possibly going after that dream or going after that goal that they've been thinking about? What would a piece of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think something that, in retrospect, I realize that in even current day, it's something you still have to actively work on, is building this kind of inner resilience that you already have. I'm going to start with that because I will truly believe that people inherently have the ability to be resilient. And it can be challenged when you're kind of starting something new or things like self-doubt might creep in. But I think it's really just kind of channeling the inner resilience that you have into being so confident in yourself and almost mentally tricking yourself. You might not have the skill set, you might not even be where you are to kind of achieve what you're trying to do, but I think just stating the fact that I know that I will get there and truly like emphasizing that whole self-confidence aspect is probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that you can get, because there's going to be so much noise, right? There's always noise when you're starting something, and I guess an analogy I can do is it could be, starting a business, right? We can even talk about that. There's so much noise. There could be like, friends and family saying, oh, but why don't you just do the 9 to 5? Oh, but no one really has done this before, but there's so much risk associated with it. And those things are very true, right? But I think the difference is just not letting the noise get to you, because what's going to happen is you're going to block the noise out. You're going to just work on growing and building whatever it is that you're doing as much as you possibly can, and then your results are essentially going to speak for yourself. But I think just when you're going about it, there's already so much external noise. You don't need to make it harder on yourself by giving yourself internal noise as well.
You actually generated a code for all the viewers, and I'm so excited about this because this brand is incredible. I mean, the colors, the way it looks, it fits. I mean, it's incredible. And the price point, you know, like you said, I think that's so unique. It's something that everyone can relate to and get on board with. And the story behind it is truly what makes it. And your story is just incredible. And I thank you so much for being able to share that with us today.